I work for a company that is doing a lot of damage in the world. It's doing a lot of good, but it's doing a lot of damage. I mean, no king in the history of the world has been the ruler of 2 billion people. But Mark Zuckerberg is.
Facebook and Google are no longer companies, they're countries. They must be stopped. The government needs to step in and break up Google and Facebook. It's a better thing for the world.
The single biggest thing is this company needs to be broken up. No king in the history of the world has been the ruler of 2 billion people. But Mark Zuckerberg is.
I'm a journalist. I just want to let you know that I intend to release our conversations to the American people. Are you interested in interviewing on the record with us to clarify your statements to the American people?
Today, Project Veritas undercover journalists have exposed another high-level executive at Facebook who's caught on a hidden camera saying, quote, the government needs to step up and break up Google and Facebook, unquote. Benny Thomas, Facebook's global planning lead, goes on to say in this hidden camera recording he'd, quote, make less money, but it's better for the world. Take a listen to this Facebook unwitting whistleblower.
The problem is then the government has to step in, which is what needs to happen now as well.
What do you
The government needs to step in and break up Google and Facebook. I'll make less money, but it's a better thing for the world.
Why do you think so?
Facebook and Google are too powerful and they need to be made less powerful.
If this sounds familiar, it's because it is. A few weeks ago, one of our insiders leaked us tape from within Facebook's meetings of Nick Clegg, Facebook's head of global affairs, and he also admitted the company has too much power.
But there has been quite a lot of disquiet expressed by many leaders around the world, from the president of Mexico to Alexander Navalny in Russia, and Chancellor Angela Merkel, and others saying, well, this shows that private companies have got too much power and they should be only making these decisions in a way that is framed by democratically agreed rules. We agree with that. We agree with that.
It's clear Thomas believes the government needs to step in and break up Facebook, maybe because he's cognizant that, quote, nothing is going to happen for a long time in regards to current state lawsuits who have already been trying to break up Facebook.
It's like right now Facebook is being sued by, by 49 states for this breakup, anti-competitive. But, so you might say, oh, Facebook's being sued. You know what? That case is going to drag on for years and years. It's just going to go on in courts because Facebook has all the money in the world, so does the US government. They'll just keep fighting, Nothing's going to happen for a long time until, I don't know. It's going to take a while, but I think people need to be just sensitized. Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, Oculus, WhatsApp, they all need to be separate companies. It's too much power when they're all one together. It needs to be broken up the way the telecom companies were broken up and the oil companies were broken up. But better than that, because those guys just came back together pretty soon after that, and I hope we've learned from that. But that's really the one thing, if you said, I would break it up and I would remove Zuck as the CEO.
Thomas, a global planning lead for Facebook, goes so far as to say they should remove Mark Zuckerberg, his own CEO. It's pretty intense. He also says Facebook doesn't even act like a company. He says it's more like its own country. Not a surprise, because there are states like Nevada that are drafting bills to make tech companies their own governments.
Facebook and Google are no longer companies, they're countries.
Well, no, which country?
They're
their
as big as
own
countries.
entity.
They're more powerful than any country.
It's only going to enhance,
Unless they're stopped.
rapidly.
They must be stopped.
Oh my gosh.
Like it says in the Matrix.
But what's going to stop it?
The government.
Why should it be stopped?
It has to be stopped because it's not good for society.
He owns a controlling stake in the company, so you can't do it the usual way that you do in the corporate world, which is the board can just fire you, right? The board can't do that to Zuck. The board can't do that to Larry Page and Sergey Brin at Google. because they own too much of the company. They're too powerful. So these are not companies anymore. These are countries.
They are countries.
And they're very big countries. They're countries of the size of China and the US. Yeah. I mean, no king in the history of the world has been the ruler of 2 billion people. But Mark Zuckerberg is. And he's 36. Like, that's too much for a 36-year-old. Like, you should not be... you should not have power over 2 billion people. I just think that's wrong.
You heard it there straight from the horse's mouth. Facebook's own employees think it's, quote, wrong that 36-year-old Mark Zuckerberg yields power over 2 billion people. But Thomas doesn't believe the only crisis at Facebook is Zuckerberg's power.
The problem is people are not differentiating. People are believing whatever they see. And it's just causing a crisis.
So what's the answer?
Well, we're working on it. But the answer is just more controls, more safeguards. The answer is the same answer of why do cars not crash on the street? Because there's traffic lights.
Right.
So they know when to stop. You need traffic lights and cops and white lines dividing the road.
To give people a moral compass?
Yeah, and to give people a guide to behavior.
That's called democracy. Somebody's always watching you so that you behave well. Like, so that you have the traffic lights. They've conducted experiments. The honesty jar experiment, where like they'll put cookies out there and there's nobody there, but like there'll be cookies and a jar, and they'll say, put whatever you think is right. We think you should pay $1 for this cookie. And they did an experiment where they just did that in a room and watched how much. Yes, please. Watch how much money people put in there, and then they did the simple thing. They put a picture of a pair of eyes on the wall in that room, and you know what happened? People started putting more money into the jar. So when you feel that somebody's watching us, we just behave better.
It all sounds very Orwellian. Thomas wants more people watching you, so you better behave. But at the same time, he openly admits that Facebook's technology can be weaponized against its own users. How does one reconcile that?
There's always built-in bias, because this is the myth that computer programmers told us, these are computers, computers don't have bias. But guess what? Human beings wrote that code, and that human being has bias. So that's why facial recognition technology often doesn't get black people's faces right, because bias is built into the coding of that.
That sounds harmless, right? That sounds harmless, but at what point is it not so harmless?
When you weaponize it as a politician and you go, show me people who are racist. Now, you can't put that into Facebook, but there are all kinds of data proxies for racist. So if I'm a racist politician who wants to find fellow racists who will vote for me, I can use the algorithm for that. Now, Facebook, as Facebook says, the algorithm was not meant for that, but you can use it for that. It's just like, the glass, I can use it to drink, or I can break it and kill someone with it. Like,
right.
it's up to you what you do with
right.
it.
And who gets to define, for instance, who the racist is? Is that like a protocol, or is there?
Well, you would find proxies. Now, what would be a proxy for a racist? Lives in all-white town, education, religious preference. So you can triangulate 3 or 4 data points and say she's likely to be racist, and then you can target her. Now the thing is, I can't target that person. I don't know that it is Elizabeth that I'm targeting. I just know it's a bunch of people. I will get to know that, like, you've got your message was seen by 11,500 people based on your target. So that's all I know. I don't actually know the names and issues, but I am, like I said, I can target racist people using just those 3 things. It's that easy. because data is very powerful. Like you can tell a lot from just a few data points. I don't need to know everything about your life. I'm not good at this, but if I were a statistician, I could probably just say, give me 5 things about you, and I can pretty much figure out everything else.
So what does Thomas believe about the fate of humanity as artificial intelligence expands and grows more and more powerful? Well, in this video, he appears more concerned than optimistic.
But AI can do more than social media. It is AI. AI is running social media, but AI can do more than run social media. AI can
Be a human.
can make all the
Wanna
traffic
be
lights
human.
green right now, which will kill like 1,000 motorists right now. AI is essentially evolving to become like human intelligence, and then it's going to go beyond human intelligence. And at that point, humans are expendable. You know, the way we treat everything else in the world, like we think we're the best, like the superior most species. So like,
But we're programming the machines.
if you and I
so-
went to a picnic, we would not spend 1 minute thinking about the ants that you stepped on the grass, right? For AI, we will become like those ants.
But
It's not like the AI will try to
But
kill
like-
us; they just won't care because it'll be so superior that it'll be like, these people don't matter. So I might be killing hundreds of ants when I walk in the park. I don't know and I don't care. It's not a thing that I think about. We will be like those ants.
So what if the tech companies like Google and Facebook remain unchecked? Where do we go from there? What's
We're
gonna
in deep
happen?
shit.
But what's gonna happen?
Bad things.
Like what?
I don't want to talk about that because that's a long conversation.
So we sent another undercover journalist to follow up with Thomas and have that, quote, longer conversation about what he thinks the future holds.
So Mark Zuckerberg is very concerned with health. In fact, his the Chan Zuckerberg initiative.
Oh, I know about the CRISPR and the gene editing therapy.
That's one of the things they do, but they also fund.
Well, yeah, they fund a lot of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm into all that. I love. I'm fascinated and terrified at the same
By
time.
CRISPR, you should be. It's eugenics, and I don't know any way to stop it. I think the genie is out of the bottle. It's the singularity is what the future is going to look like. So Ray Kurzweil is a futurologist and scientist and just general innovator, and he's been talking about this concept called the singularity, which is basically his way of describing man and machine getting merged together. And as he points out, he said, you know what, it's nothing new. It's not like you have to go straight to like cyborg. Like people have had pacemakers in their heart for like 40 years now. So those people are already part machine and part human. And what he talks about is, he said, we are evolving to a point where this combination of computing ability and human, which is what he calls the singularity, the convergence of the two, is going to be the future, because that will be a superior race, obviously, right? If you have a chip in your brain, you can do so many things better than me, right? Like maybe not emotional, artistic things, but a lot of rational, calculated things, right? Like adding up a bill, or figuring out how to invest in something, or 1,000 things in your life will become a lot simpler, right? So then he says, again, what is the ethical prerogative? Are you just creating, again, two classes of haves and have-nots, but really extreme haves and have-nots? Like,
Yeah.
not even like, oh, they have money, I don't, but maybe one day I'll make money. No. They have a thing that I can never have. This is what is going to happen if CRISPR gets to. So I don't know what
And
to
like
do
you
about
said,
it.
like you said, the genie's out of the bag. There's no way to stop it.
I just don't know what to do about it. Yeah, it's there.
And do the people know?
No, because most people don't understand these things, and most people don't think about them.
How can we
Which
tell
is
people?
Which is why a lot of shit goes down, because people aren't paying attention.
Thomas seems to think that if people would just start paying attention, the future would be brighter, that things would look up. We confronted Thomas with the footage and asked him to go on the record, asked him to join our team of insiders, and here's what happened.
Benny, I got to talk to you about something. I'm a journalist, and I've been talking to you for a bit and documenting it, and I just want to let you know that I intend to release our conversations to the American people.
You shouldn't do that.
I just wanted to know if you wanted to interview on the record to clarify your statements to the American people.
No.
Benny, you could be a catalyst for change. You said it yourself that Facebook's too powerful, that the legal battle will go on forever. Where's the catalyst? Would you consider going on the record and interviewing with us?
Who's us?
Project Veritas. The video I showed you, whistleblowers and insiders come to us because they're the only people they trust in the media. We support our insiders, Benny. We support them. Are you interested in interviewing on the record with us to clarify your statements to the American people?
No. Hello?
Hey, Benny. This is James O'Keefe with Project Veritas. Do you just have a minute to talk off the record?
No.
Just take a minute, Benny. We're putting the story together, and I just want to talk to you about what's going on. Hang up the phone. We hope this story will encourage Thomas to change his mind and many others like him. For in order for people to pay attention, we need to shake them awake. And hopefully, recordings like this will encourage that very thing to happen. If you're on the inside of Facebook or any other tech company, please reach out to us at veritastips@protonmail.com.